Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you've been well. Today we're talking about my 2024 Toyota Tacoma TRD Offroad. So in this video, I'll be giving you kind of an updated thoughts on the truck, talk about some things that I've done to it since the last update video. Some of that will include repairing the whole front end from my accident, cutting off a little chunk to make a little more clearance for the tires, installing a dual air compressor twin ARB in the bed with the CA Tuned Offroad kit, and then just kind of miscellaneous other things. We'll start with one thing that I get asked still a lot. Am I liking the 2024 Tacoma? Sorry guys, yes, it's outside of maybe reliability, which probably it's not better than the third or the second gen. It's better in pretty much every way. It drives so nice. These are 37-inch Toyo MTs by 1250 wide, chunky off-road tire, no gears, drives perfect. Like, I don't see a reason to gear it. If I could snap my fingers and it would be geared, I might do it. I don't know, but I'm not going to spend any money re-gearing this at this point. It drives great. I do have the iForce Max, though I can tell on the screen when the battery and the hybrid engine is kicking in and when it's not, and it still feels good even when it's not kicking in. So the 4-cylinder turbo, pretty good paired with the 8-speed transmission, pretty good for power. And this thing just drives nice. The interior is nice. Like, everything about it, I'm honestly very happy with. It is a small truck. The back seat is small. That hasn't changed from the previous gen Tacoma. Really, the back seats got smaller in some regards and bigger in some regards. It's kind of a wash. It's about the same size back seat, tiny compared to, you know, a Super Duty. But truck's been good. Everything on it's been good. Yeah, I love this truck, actually. And the more I drive it, the more I like it. I have a lot of vehicles, so sometimes it sits for a while. And when I get back in and drive it, I'm like, man, this thing is nice. I just took it out on a camping trip, so I actually just filmed the intro and outro of a Weekenderlander that we'll be posting the next video after this, I'm pretty sure. So we're kind of a little bit still loaded up from that. These are fantastic. The cooled function, like, actually made my back cold on the drive. I'm so, no regrets at all. So stoked on these seat covers. They are amazing. Again, like I talked about in the previous video where I talk interior upgrades. If you missed that video, go back on my channel. The only thing I would move this switch, you know, over here. I didn't choose this location. The installers just put it in, but it is a very stupid location because the seatbelt covers it. You can't really see it. That is just a dumb location to put this. I know where it is. I'm used to it now. It's fine. But if you're doing the installs, I would ask them to put that somewhere else, anywhere but here. But man, the seats are so nice, and the driving experience was great. So other than what I talked about earlier, not much new on the truck. I will be continuing my rooftop tent review series. If you've been like, man, Mike, we haven't seen the truck for a while. Yeah, it's because I got in an accident. It was my fault. I still don't really know what happened, but some stuff got put on hold because the truck was technically drivable, but not great. Even still, there's a bunch of sensors. I need to do a bunch of recalibrating. Some things don't work. So I'm just waiting until I put on the new C4 bumper, and then I'll just get everything recalibrated because some of the sensors will change anyway. So it's, you know, it'd be good to do that then. So rather than waste money and do it now and then do it again, I'm just going to wait. But that's why the truck hasn't been in action for a little bit, but have no fear. We're back in business. Actually, the sun is beating down on me. I realize it's like so bright that when I'm trying to show stuff, it's too dark and too bright, and I'm hot. So I'm gonna move some stuff around in the barn and pull the truck in, and we'll pick back up in there. All right, so in the barn now, actually I'm noticing all these little things on my screen. you can't tell, but when I was sawing this stuff off, I actually shot shards of molten metal in and like melted somehow my UV filter on here. So I need a new one. Sorry about that, guys. So quick break before we get into it. Quick break to thank our sponsors, but also get myself a little hydrated. Have you guys heard of LMNT? A lot of you have. A lot of you guys are fans. I love to hear when I get a sponsor that you guys already love them. Anyway, they have a new Flava Flav, and it is a limited run. And I don't know why companies do this, but it is my favorite. But it is limited. So if you want it, you got to stock up for, you know, the rest of the indefinite future. Lemonade Salt. So if you guys don't know about LMNT, it's basically a hydration drink, specially formulated to have everything the body needs to stay hydrated. It's not Brondo, that's from Idiocracy, but it is the next best thing. Really, I can't say it better than their marketing or design team, but no sugar, no gluten, no dodgy ingredients, paleo and keto friendly, vegan friendly, and used by this buff guy here, USA Weightlifting. But athletes, Navy SEALs, regular Joe Schmoes, everyone that needs their body to be hydrated, you could get into it. Their blog has a lot of good resources for education. If you're into just getting more facts, but Cliff Notes is that water alone doesn't do a good job of hydrating you. You need some more minerals. You need them in specific ratios for the ideal benefit of hydration, and you need more salt than you probably think you need. So if you like a slightly flavored, little bit salty and delicious hydration drink, then you should try LMNT. Also made in the USA. So anyway, if you want to try them out, they gave me a code, drinklmnt.com/LLOD, and you can go to that URL whenever you want. Every order through that URL will get you a free sample pack. So you basically get 8 of these things for free in different flavors for you to try out. So every order, every restock, drinklmnt.com/LLOD, that'll hook you up. All right, LMNT, thanks for the sponsor. Thanks for keeping me hydrated. Let's get back to the video. So I filmed this part a while back. I kind of forget exactly what I talked about, but I replaced most of the front end myself, except for a little bit down here, because all of this is gonna get cut off. I'll show you in a future video. The plan is C4 front bumper, C4 slider, C4 skids, and C4 rear bumper. Obviously, this is gonna be a C4 sponsored build. Been real happy with their armor. Had it on the Tundra, old Tundra. I actually have it on this Tundra. And so I didn't want to fix it all. Additionally, this is just black. It's not wrapped yet because I'm going to cut most of it off. And then what is left, then I'll take over to Lucid Wraps and we will match the wrap. Back while I was in here, I did need new headlights. So we got the Alpha Rex in here, which they've actually been an upgrade over my factory. I had the poverty lights on here, so they weren't that good really, and did go for the sequential amber tails as well. Kind of a crazy, I don't know if they have a startup sequence in the back. Looks like they do a little bit of woo woo wah. Anyway, amber sequential. When these are off, they actually match the wrap really nice. They look way different in the camera than in real life. But here we go. This kind of gray, it's funny because Talon has these same ones on his truck, and the gray kind of matches his gray, but it also kind of matches my foliage on this truck. Anyway, I wanted to black things out a little more versus the kind of obnoxious red, I mean, not obnoxious, just red like most taillights on the factories. So this really matches the look of the truck much better. So let me clip over, or let me switch over. I think I filmed some of that. Okay, so front end is off. That was you know, more trouble than it should be on all these modern vehicles. So can assess the damage a little more. So this headlight is broken in several spots. This is where the impact was. So this little impact kind of bumper dealio basically got torn up here. It's hard to tell if this is bent or not because we have the same kind of, it's hard to tell because the light's different, but I don't think this is actually bent. It seems pretty much the same on both sides, but the grill shutter, I'll show you in a second, was pretty broken up. This has like a little crack in it, but still largely functional. A couple of these little clips are broken, and we got like a little bit of brokenness. I didn't order a new one of these because that one really is fine and functional. This bottom part broke off of that one, but I think gonna remove most of this lower section. Gonna remove this, gonna remove that. This little bracket is bent here, but this is probably gonna go. The main thing I needed to check out was if all of kind of the radiator, intercooler stuff was good, and that all is totally fine. So fortunately, a lot of the major stuff is still good. This thing, there's a few little things that I'm gonna get into that I'll just need to check on. More broken brackets on the headlights. But I'm swapping the headlights entirely, and there is a little bit of damage to this fender, but I'm not gonna get a new fender because, again, this truck will be more of a wheel-in truck, and I will mess a lot of this stuff up in the future. So this fender was in good enough shape where I was like, I'll save a couple bucks and not buy it. It did push back into this door and mess up the wrap a little bit. But again, not a show truck, so I'm not too worried about some of that small stuff. But yeah, so I got this whole thing off. Here is all of my OEM parts that I ordered. So this is the huge, like, full bumper. This is the grill support. This is the little grill top end, handful of little brackets and pieces. And so here's what I pulled off. Hard to tell, but basically bumper broken off, grill, a few pieces are missing. The actual grill portion is fine, but I figured this was a good time to just swap to the Pro Grill. These are the grill shutters here, which I know with the C4 bumper, they have to remove it, I think basically from here. So I'm missing two shutters, and unfortunately the one shutter that controls the actual movement that goes into this little gear right there. So I actually have it, but it's broken because this whole piece broke off. So I'm gonna see if I can salvage the pieces and get them in there enough to get this to work, because this component was pretty expensive, and I didn't feel like buying that if all I was gonna miss was one shutter. Basically, it would function about the same. Again, since I said I'm gonna be cutting that bottom portion off. So I don't know, I'll see if I can salvage this, because if I have to get a new one, that'll be a pain. And then I lost one parking sensor, so I ordered a new parking sensor. So I'm gonna start pulling this off. Basically, this is like 20 pieces of crap here, and harnesses and junk, and this will be a lot of boring, pain in the butt stuff for me to work on. But I'm basically gonna work on transferring the good pieces off and combining them with the new good pieces, and yeah. All right, most of the way back together by some stroke of miracle. I think we actually have everything here. So pulled a lot of the stuff, bolts, nuts, screws, even like this gasket off of the old one, and I bought everything pretty much except for this bottom piece. So once it's on the truck, I'll see how bad it looks, but basically from here below is getting cut off. Some of these pieces are so big, like the bumper is so big that I needed to replace the whole thing, even though the original one was really only damaged to the point where I was gonna cut off. But since, again, it goes all the way up, I needed to just replace the whole thing. So that whole thing, and then this grill support, it goes so deep and so high that I needed to replace that whole thing. But this is the one little piece, and then there's one other piece that's on basically the front that's a little damaged, but I was able to reuse, and then one of these fogs was damaged, but I'll be pulling those off. So the only thing that as far as up to this point, that I realized I didn't get is that part, or whatever, that part was completely gone. So I had to reorder a sensor, which I did order, but I did not reorder one of the little mounts. So I'll get one of those, and yeah, I think everything else is good. I got the Alpha Rex headlight mounted, so these are all in the factory holes. This thing did snap, so I needed to get that new structure, which I knew, and I did get that. And then this bracket was bent a little bit, but man, I think we're back in business. So this is the fully black, the Alpha Black Alpha Rex with I switched it to amber, so it'll have amber DRLs. I'll show you that later. And then I just had the Poverty Edition TRD Offroad, so I don't have daytime running lights or anything cool, really. So these will be an upgrade in several ways. So ran the DRL harness, fuse tapped in there. I'll clean up that wiring a little bit and then pull this off, put the other headlight on, and then we'll see if that mounts up right. Oh, I didn't put the only thing I didn't put in here was the grill surround, or the grill shutter. So I'll put that back in and be off to the races. Back in business, baby. Alpha Rex in. Here's that little startup sequence. I'm going ambers on this one, so got that in. Everything's buttoned back up. There's a little Toyota that goes in here, but I ordered some gold plasti dip for the letters, so I'm just gonna keep that out until that comes in, and then we'll be good to go. And so yeah, this is the only part, like I was explaining, I didn't get new, because this whole lower section is gonna get chopped off. So, you know, from afar, looks pretty good, except for that little section there. I just got this in black because I'm gonna wrap it. So actually, black kind of blends in. Like, you know, you wouldn't really notice it at a glance. But a couple other things I still need to do here. I cut these fenders back for tire clearance, but now I need to cut this bumper back. Again, this lower piece, that bumper back. And then back in here, I removed all the stuff for bigger clearancing, but as you can see right on this part here, this little top part, I think you can see I got tire rubbage. So I'm actually gonna hack that little bracket off. I'd like to do a body mount chop at some point because I'd clear up another 2 inches. But right now, judging off of paint wearing off anyway, just that little top bracket is where I'm rubbing. So I'm gonna hack that off. Let me just crank the exposure up in here. So by factory, you'll have a liner down in here, and you'll have a little part that bolts on here. This little piece just unbolts, and then you gain a lot of clearance, and that's good for 35. Some people think it's good to 37s, but you'll still rub a little bit on 37s on this other bracket that still sticks out more. I think I'm not really rubbing anymore, but I kind of want to just do a body mount chop, and then you'd gain another 2.5 roughly inches.
Right, we're gonna cut it off, right?
And I bet you could stuff 40-inch tires. I'm not saying I'm going to 40, but I kind of want to, just because these trucks handle 37 so easily. Why not make the driving experience just a little worse? Kind of joking, but kind of not. But the truck does handle 37s incredibly well. So let's cut over real quick to, I think I filmed some of chopping that off. I don't think I talked about it at all, so I'll talk now while we're showing that. Basically just angle grinder, cut the bracket off, then a flap wheel, smooth things out under there, and then hit it with some Steel It paint. And it really, you know, if you're just looking at it, it looks factory, like that bracket never belonged there in the first place. So I think that's about it. Just, again, really enjoying this truck. I do still have regrets. So I do wish I got premium tech package or even the TRD Pro or the Trail Hunter or whatever. And really the only reason is I wish I had the panoramic camera. Having that in the Tundra spoiled me. Even my poverty spec XL Super Duty F450 has the option for the pano cameras, and it's just nice. It would be so nice on the trail. I wish I had it. If anyone has retrofitted that system onto their truck, let me know. I know there will be a lot involved in it, but I may research and tackle that at some point. But if you know of anyone that's done it, let me know. It will need the cameras. It will need at least a different bottom plate. I haven't looked into it too closely. The wiring harness, sometimes they're just there. Sometimes they're not. So I don't know. You may need to run the new wiring harness, which would be the biggest pain. But maybe the wires are already there, because mine doesn't even have a front camera either. No front camera. This grill has, you know, the option for the front camera, but I have no front camera. I need to put the Toyota letters in there still. But now with the cat skins, I do like the cat skins interior better than the factory. So I would say that I upgraded my seats versus the factory, and there's nothing really else. I don't want the moonroof. There's some stuff on the premium tech package that I didn't want. So the only thing that I really wanted was the pano camera. I got the big screen, I got the JBL, I got the electronic sway bar disconnect. What I don't have that I kind of joked about a lot is dual climate control. It doesn't really bug me, but it is funny that this almost $60,000 truck doesn't even have dual climate. I like the black headliner. Everything on this truck has been good. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. So things to come is all the armor, which will include winch and some lights and whatnot. I have some lights here, like up in the up top rack and a light bar even. None of those are wired up yet. So I was just gonna wait till everything after runs, basically a distribution, what are they called? Like a bus bar essentially, because I have the battery underneath the seat, so I'll run that. Oh, actually, let me show you real quick some of the dual compressor setup in the bed. The end result is this. So this is from CA Tuned, and we got a compressor, ARB compressor, twin compressor back in here with the chuck, and then the switch up in there. The CA Tuned Offroad ARB mount in here. So kit comes with a twin compressor. It gets really hot coming out of here, goes into this, and then comes out of there, into here, into a chuck that'll be in there with a switch in there as well. So there aren't any install instructions as of right now anyway, I think, that I could find. But we got the switch, we got some bolts. These bolts look like they are to mount the compressor to the actual thing. This mount is for that guy hose is separate. We do have a wiring harness and a wiring harness here. And this guy, that's the steel line that comes out of there and goes into this. And we got a bunch of fittings. So I think I'll be able to figure it all out. But basically we start with these Torx bits here, removing this, and then I'll see if I can assemble all of this onto this and then slide it into place, and then I'll be able to access the wiring basically below there. So that's what we're doing. So this box out, you can see this giant void. This is just the fender. There's always this huge wasted space, especially in the Tacomas in this composite bed, between the inside of the bed and the outside. I've always wanted to develop a box that you put in here that actually utilizes that whole storage space really well, but I never have. So anyway, I like that. This, one of my favorite things is utilizing otherwise wasted space. So that'll be nice in there. All right, a few moments later, I was hoping I'd be able to mount the compressor to the plate and then wiggle it in there, but there ain't no way that's happening, especially with all of the kind of the little, whatever this one's called, the expansion chamber, the mini air tank. So, like I was explaining earlier, hose comes out of here. It's very hot, so usually you don't want to use a rubber hose out of here, though you can technically, but long run time will heat that up a lot. So stainless steel hose comes out of here, goes into the tank. Rubber hose comes out of the tank. This part will go and come out of the plate. I wanted to test it on the switch before I kind of started to button everything up. So I just got a random battery over here, hooked it all up, and we got power. So now I know all the wiring is correct, which is good because the wiring's crazy and the ARB instructions are always a little wonky. So since I'm not using, these are for the air lockers, since I'm not using any air lockers, I'm just using the compressor. You hook the switch up to the isolation switch, which does have a wiring diagram in there. Then the kit they supply has a positive run that just connects down to the battery. And this will now, I'll safely be able to put it in the hole where I won't be able to access it easily again, and then figure out my wiring over to the battery. Okay, so what I'm gonna try anyway is, I got the compressor shoved down in there, all the wiring and everything. I'm gonna put this plate in, and this will require 2 people, but I'm gonna crawl under there, try and line the compressor up with these holes, and then have Ashley start threading a couple of them once I get it lined up, and we'll see how that goes. All right, a few moments later, we got air. So I need to add some terminal fuses here, but just to get it up and running, just going directly to the battery, it's good to add some fuses in case a wire pinches or something in an accident or rubs through and gets exposed and grounded. So this isn't the best, but I ordered some terminal fuses and they're coming. So I got my ground and my positive. There's a little grommet right down there. This is the hybrid, obviously. So there's the grommet right down there, and then we've got the wire coming down. And then I basically wanted to add some bus bars so I could hook up future accessories or whatever. So I added some bus bars here under the bed in a spot that hopefully they won't get too much junk flung up on them. This is the underside of the bed. I just screwed them into the composite here. So we got the positive and the negative coming here, And then those wires up in the corner over there are the wires that are running back to the compressor that's back in that corner. All right, cool. So with that, I do want to add a dual battery setup to this probably, but my options are limited because I have no room behind the seat. I have no room under the seat because of the hybrid system. The JBL system is behind the seat. There's really no storage inside of this tiny truck, like pretty much none. I got this case, the Pelican Vault V800, that'll store a bunch of stuff. Obviously, the truck bed will store a bunch of stuff. I have other things mounted to the sides and whatnot. But I think my only option for a dual battery setup would be to put something in the bed, like bolt it to the accessory rails or put it up on top of the wheel well, something like that. So I need to explore that pretty quick and then decide whether I want to wire up lights and, you know, like a power switch or something to my normal 12 volt battery or to my secondary battery. So I need to run another power basically up in under the hood, which I don't have a great place to put it because a nice spot that I could have put it, unfortunately, I have some bracket relocates going on already from my fancy Icon electronic suspension. So don't really have much room under the hood to do anything because, again, the hybrid motor takes up some space even without a battery under here. Not much room. So anyways, I'll update you guys all on that in a future video in the next few weeks. But I like the direction it's going. Let me know your thoughts on it. Let me know what I should add, what I should change. I have been getting asked a fair bit about portals. There's a few companies that make them. 24 Weld is one of the more popular ones. They seem to be trending right now, and people are like, are you gonna do portals? Portals are 20 grand, so I wouldn't, but let me know down below if you want me to see if maybe I could get a sponsorship from them or something and do it. This truck, like I kind of have the cheap, this truck was $7,500. My LX is a 2008 LX 570. I got that for like 18,000. I have like some budget vehicles, so I'm not all Gucci on everything. My Super Duty that I just bought has 100,000 miles on it and is the XL trim. So I don't want you guys to think I'm Gucci. This is now my Gucciest vehicle. So I'm kind of like, maybe I should just go all out. It's already pretty bling. It already has pretty crazy suspension on it and modifications and a wrap. So this would be the truck to go all out with. So would you guys like to see, I'm not saying I'm going to do it or I'm not going to do it. So, but I always like to get feedback from you guys. Is that something you'd like to see? Just go crazy and do portals. Maybe I would do like portals and 40-inch tires or something. Do I think I need it for what I do? Not really, but a lot of times I am scraping lower control arms and diffs and undercarriage and stuff, so it does get all of that stuff up off the ground. It does reduce the gear ratio, so that'll make it a little better, though like I said earlier, I feel like the gearing is pretty fine, but I think I would only do it if I went to bigger tires, because right now the truck as it sits handles 37 so nicely. So anyway, let me know your thoughts on that. There are plenty of benefits to portals, but the main, it's a lot of money. Let me know your thoughts. Anyway, let me know anything else as well. Appreciate you guys commenting, liking, subscribing. And until next time, guys, take care.